For some odd reason, Dynasty Warriors has been the bread and butter for Koei. With an absurd amount of sequels, prequels, and spin-offs, it's even rivals in sheer numbers, all 2,500 variations of Street Fighter. Well, okay, maybe that's exaggerating. But with the arrival of Dynasty Warriors Advance, you can reenact all your favorite Chinese historical battles in pure 2D portable power. Well, unfortunately, playing these battles on a Gameboy Advance isn't nearly as epic. Its main draw is its unlimited amount of sword clashing action. It's the classic story of one man, one sword, and maybe a horse versus an entire freaking nation. Well, actually, it's based on the romance of the Three Kingdoms in China, but let's get that over with. With an endless amount of stamina, you fight your way through stages of endless waves of Chinese warriors. The PS2 and Xbox versions literally have 50 angry Chinese men, and don't forget the women, on screen, with sticks, knives, spears, swords, and nunchucks, and whatever the fuck they have, just waiting to cut you up like fresh meat. The fast and frantic combat seems to have been lost in translation. The Game Boy Advance doesn't have the hardware capabilities to render 50 angry men and can't possibly display all of them in a tiny screen, which is pretty reasonable and logical. Instead of wrestling with hardware limitations, the developers opted to have a maximum of 5 men at a time. You'll still be able to fight 50 men, but only in waves of 5. So 550 men, do the math, 5 times 10. It's understandable that the Game Boy Advance can't duplicate the powers of the console systems, duh, but having only 5 men at once takes away from the epic nature of Dynasty Warriors. Instead of feeling like an offshoot of the series, Dynasty Warriors Advance feels like a tiny and resembles more of an updated version of Kung Fu Master. Players can choose from 13 characters based on Chinese history, specifically the romance of the Three Kingdoms era, battling through 180 battle maps. Each character has similar attacks to their counterparts in other Dynasty Warriors games, more specifically Dynasty Warriors 4. The character development system is also present in the game, which allows the player to collect a large multitude of weapons for each character. There isn't much unlocking in Dynasty Warriors Advanced. You only unlock about 4 characters, and they are Cao Cao from the Wei Kingdom, Liu Bei from the Shu Kingdom, Sun Jiang from the Wu Kingdom, all 3 of the main lords. And if you battle with one of their Musou modes, you just unlock the badass Lu Bu. That's about it for unlockable characters, which is pretty disappointing. Like the other Dynasty Warriors games, play modes are free mode, Musou mode, and challenge mode. Unlike the non-portable console Dynasty Warriors games, there are a set number of possible positions for the characters. You can go back up 2 spots and 1 spot forward. However, the player can move when it says player move. When it says ally move or enemy move, the player cannot perform any functions. If you want a stupid way, it's just a basic version of Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2. The abilities to jump, build Musou, and shoot arrows in battle in the previous games were omitted from Advanced. Also, character speech was all in subtitles with no voiceovers. Well, however, there is dialogue when a character defeats an officer, most commonly. Enemy officer defeated! But with all that aside, to be honest, this doesn't really live up to the console predecessors, even though I've been a big fan of Dynasty Warriors since I played in my cousin's house Dynasty Warriors 4, ironically, even though I want to play the other ones. It's really bad. But anyway, I give this 3 dead officers. Out of 5.